Okay, here we go. We're gonna do a video. Okay.
Hola. Hola a todos, muy buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a la presentación de Mucho Más que un Club de Chicas. En nombre de Penguin Random House y Alfaguara les damos la cordial bienvenida. Está con nosotros Claudia Ramírez y Elizabeth Eulberg, a quien les pido un aplauso. Perdón, les recuerdo que la firma es al terminar en el Penguin Random House.
Hola. Pues muy buenas tardes a todos. Bienvenidos a la presentación de Elizabeth Eulberg. Yo estoy muy contenta de estar aquí. Es un gran honor poder estar con Elizabeth y con todos ustedes. Primero les voy a explicar la dinámica. Voy a estar yo haciéndole preguntas. Va a ser más o menos como un preguntas y respuestas. Y los últimos minutos vamos a cederles la palabra a ustedes para que también le puedan preguntar lo que ustedes quieran. Y pues yo voy a empezar nada más diciendo unas breves palabras para poderle pasar el micrófono a Elizabeth, porque me dijo que preparó algo en español para todos ustedes que les quiere decir. Está nerviosa, pero lo habla muy bien. Bueno, pues vamos a hablar del segundo libro que se llama Mucho Más que un Club de Chicas, pero también podemos hablar de todos sus demás libros, los que están traducidos al español, que es El Club de los Corazones Solitarios y Si Quedamos como Amigos, y este que es el que acaba de salir. Yo ya los leí los tres y me gustaron muchísimo. Siento que son libros que te enseñan lecciones muy valiosas. Por ejemplo, el del Club de los Corazones Solitarios te enseña que pues tú como chica no dependes de un hombre para ser valiosa y no tienes que olvidarte de tu vida y de tus amigas y de tus amigos para poder ser feliz. Entonces eso siento que a mí me hubiera servido muchísimo cuando tenía 15, 16 años, la edad de Penny. Y de hecho, yo creo que leerlo en secundaria o en preparatoria es una etapa perfecta para entender esa valiosa lección. Y el segundo libro te enseña más como que tienes que hacer un balance entre lo que tú quieres hacer y lo que tú debes hacer. Tienes que encontrar el balance para estar a gusto contigo misma y ser feliz, y no tienes que esperar a ser felices a todos los que te rodean. Primero eres tú, y eso es muy importante porque a veces nos olvidamos de nosotros mismos por querer tener a todos felices, y la vida no se trata de eso. Entonces, yo aprendí, bueno, son lecciones que como ya tenía en mi subconsciente, pero leer a Elizabeth me hizo recordarlas y tenerlas más a flote. Entonces, eso se lo agradezco muchísimo. Y pues sí, yo tengo varias preguntas preparadas, pero por mientras le quiero dar el micrófono a Elizabeth para que pueda platicar con ustedes.
Hola, Mexico. Okay. All right, I'm going to try to speak in Spanish for a little bit. Okay, here we go. Quiero decir unas palabras en español, muy mal español, porque mis lectores mexicanos han sido muy importantes para mí. Cuando me siente a escribir por primera vez, nunca pensé que alguien más leería mis palabras, mucho menos en México. Y ahora, ustedes son la razón de que yo siga escribiendo. Y por eso quiero darles las gracias. I tried. Do you want? Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, that's
Está muy nerviosa, pero yo creo que lo hizo muy bien. Elizabeth me estaba contando que estudió español varios años y yo creo que lo hizo bien. Yo creo que sí. Pero bueno, ya vamos a empezar con las preguntas y respuestas de este Q&A. Y la primera pregunta que le quiero hacer es la más típica, yo creo, de todas, y es que ¿cómo se te ocurrió la idea del Club de los Corazones Solitarios? ¿Hubo algo que te inspirara?
So I was out with a girlfriend. I love telling this story because I feel like either you know someone like this or you have been this person. I was out with a friend who always dumps her friends when she gets a boyfriend. And I was out with her one night and I just she started ignoring me when a guy was paying attention to her. And I thought, oh, this is so stupid. Es muy estúpido. I was like, stupid. You have all these amazing single girlfriends. You should go out every Saturday night and celebrate the fact that you're single. And then I thought, that would be a really good idea for a book. So that night I thought, okay, I could write a book about a girl in high school who decides to stop dating boys. And for the boys in the audience, I'm sorry, but some of you are dumb. Not all. Most. And even that night I was thinking, because, she was ignoring me. Even that night I thought, I want it to have a really good name, and I'm a huge Beatles fan, so the Lonely Hearts Club came right from there. And then I spent I spent 4 años escribiendo el libro. Escribiendo el libro. I spent actually 5 years writing that book and did 17 drafts. And so this is crazy because I almost gave up once. And now I think about how happy, I've always been happy that I kept reading. I kept writing the book, but now even more so because this would have been insane for me to miss out on this.
Okay. Ahorita que mencionaste a los Beatles, quería preguntarte si tú eres tan fan de ellos como lo es Penny Lane y su familia loca que está intensa.
Yes, not as much as su loco familia. No, I'm going to just, whatever words I know, I'm just going to say it. No. My Spanish teacher is probably crying tears right now. Lo siento, Señora Coleman. Yes, I love the Beatles. I became a bigger Beatles fan writing the book because I only listened to the Beatles when I was writing this book. And I've seen Paul McCartney 4 times in concert, and he's amazing. I saw Ringo last year, but I do love the Beatles. And now if I hear a Beatles song, which I hear all the time, I always think of Penny Lane in a certain moment in the book.
Oh. Y por eso se te ocurrió nombrar a las 3 hijas con nombres de canciones de los Beatles. Eso estuvo increíble.
Yes. So originally, when I was coming up with the book, I thought like, oh, maybe I could have it be 4 girls, right? Like Paula, Jonathan, Georgette, And then I was walking in New York and Washington Square Park. So I think about this a lot when I see the big arch that's in that park, because I was walking by it when I was thinking, well, what name could I use for Ringo? I can't do like Ringa. So I thought, I could do Rita. And that's when I thought, well, or you could have it be one character whose parents are huge Beatles fans, and Penny Lane is one of my favorite songs. And, if you name a daughter Lucy or Rita, it's fine. But if you name your daughter Penny Lane, because that's her actual name, not just Penny, and her parents never call her Penny, they always call her Penny Lane, then you have to be pretty crazy Beatles fans. So it all came from that walk that I decided that when Penny Lane Bloom was born.
Y hablando del club, yo cuando lo estaba leyendo me quedé pensando me hubiera gustado que cuando yo estaba en la escuela, porque ya me gradué, hubiera habido un club así con el que yo pudiera pasar tiempo con amigas y olvidarnos de todos los problemas de los chicos. Entonces te quería preguntar si cuando tú estabas en la escuela también te hubiera gustado algo así o tú misma lo hubieras fundado.
Yes. Sí. I really wish out of all the books I've written that Lonely Hearts Club existed when I was in high school, because I totally would have been a founding member of that club, because when I was in high school, when I was a teenager, just everything was such a big deal. And I remember being so like worked up over whether or not I was going to be asked to a dance. Like, oh, my life's going to be over if I don't have a date to this dance. Well, you know what? I didn't have a date to that dance, and I'm fine. So, kind of, no. So yeah, I really, out of everything, I wish there was. I might start one for my friends anyways.
Y cuando estábamos platicando la vez pasada, me habías contado que algunos lectores habían fundado sus propios clubs de los corazones solitarios. ¿Nos puedes contar algunas experiencias y cómo te sentiste al respecto cuando te enteraste?
Yes, the first I ever heard from someone was a bunch of readers in Guam Who knew? And, but yeah, I hear from girls all the time who say, oh, my friends and I started my own club. Some of them are like, can we get the official rules? And I'm like, well, they're in the book, but make your own. It's fine. It's amazing to think that something that I created, not only do people respond to it, but that they would want it to be part of their lives. I think that's great. So, you know, sorry, fellows, but Lonely Hearts Club for all.
Ya hablando de los personajes, ¿cómo te inspiraste para crear a la protagonista, Penny Lane? Porque es una chica muy diferente y es muy fuerte. Es muy bonito leer protagonistas fuertes en la literatura juvenil.
Thank you. Muchas gracias, Claudia. Yeah, I think out of all my characters, Penny Lane is most like me because she's my first character I ever did. So a lot of her experiences come from me, good and bad, unfortunately. I had a Nate. Yeah, no. Yeah. But here's the thing. When you have a Nate in your life, you can write a book. And I remember when I found out he cheated on me, I thought, I'm gonna portray you poorly in a work of fiction. The best revenge. But I try to write strong girl characters because I also want, you know, readers to feel like, you know, if you don't have a boyfriend, it's okay. Don't feel weird because you're the only one of your friends who doesn't. And I feel like Penny Lane is very strong. And so I kept... She's like the best version of me that I could think of, like the me I wish I was in high school, with her sense of humor and her friends. So yeah, so it's most of her bad qualities that come from me.
Y cuando escribiste el Club de los Corazones Solitarios, ¿ya tenías planeado escribir la secuela? ¿O se te ocurrió después? ¿O cómo fue el proceso de que dijiste, voy a escribir un segundo libro?
I always wanted to write a second book. Once I spent 5 years with these characters before the book came out. And so they're the people I've spent the most time with in my head, at least. So I always wanted to write about what happens. Okay, so it's really hard to talk about this book without spoiling the first one. So I'll do my best. But a lot of books, and I have written several of them, end with a guy and a girl getting together, and that's great. But I think it's also interesting to look at a relationship in its early stages. And it's called foreshadowing in the United States. I don't know what it's called here, but there's a conversation Tracy and Penny have about that very thing, where Tracy says basically to Penny, look, well, you know why all those novels end with a couple getting together, because, you know, you don't want to see what happens on the 4th date or the 2nd month where they start arguing. But it was more looking at Penny with everything she has, because you guys are really busy. Like, everybody has a lot going on with their life. And it happens to me that when I find a person that I want to share my life with, you have to make some sacrifices. And there's some people like Diane in the first book who does not do a good job of it. And so Penny just really needs to kind of figure out how to work everything out. Fortunately, she has like an awesome group of friends to help her. I'm like...
Sí, de hecho es justo lo que me habías contado a mí del balance que uno tiene que encontrar en la vida de otro. Y que siempre es bueno tener un grupo de amigos para que te ayuden a centrarte y a estar bien contigo misma. Y te quería preguntar, de las chicas del club, ¿cuál sería tu mejor amiga?
In the club, well, besides, I mean, Penny, you know, I like her a lot, obviously, but I mean, Tracy cracks me up. Her sense of humor is very much like mine, very dry, and but I'm not as snarky or sarcastic. Well, I guess I am. But it was funny. My editor was saying that every time Tracy appears in this book, that she stole the scenes, and it was really funny because it came really easy to me. Her like little comebacks, but I think having someone like Tracy in my corner, because she's so loyal and really funny as well. How I'm like, I write characters that are hilarious. Yeah. so modest.
Y también hablando de personajes, de Ryan, que es uno de los novios literarios más perfectos, era demasiado bueno. A veces me enojaba mucho con Penny por cómo lo trataba. Y no sé, quería saber si para crear a Ryan te inspiraste en alguien o es nada más como tu novio literario perfecto o si hay alguien que conozcas parecido a Ryan.
I wish. No. No, unfortunately, Ryan is all my imagination. Yosei. I know, right? I know, yes. No, I will say out of all the boys I've ever written, he is kind of the ideal boyfriend for me. And, he is a little too perfect. I get it. But, we can all dream. But I have to say, I also got really mad at Penny writing this book. I was crying during one scene because I was so frustrated at her. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, and which is funny because I could have stopped her, but then the book wouldn't have been as exciting. But I also wanted Penny to make some mistakes because she's not perfect, because none of us are, and we're all going to make mistakes. And she learns from them. So hopefully, and whenever I make mistakes, which is often, as you've heard my Spanish, that I've learned from it, hopefully.
Me pidieron mucho que te hiciera esta pregunta, y es que si piensas continuar con la historia de Ryan y Penny o del Club de los Corazones Solitarios, algún tercer libro u otra cosa.
Oh, everybody looks really excited right now. I don't think so. Maybe. Okay. So here's the thing. If you've read this book, I did set it up in a way that if I was to write a third book, Penny would not be the one telling the story anymore. It's a very, and she actually does at the end, like, jokingly hand over a crown to someone. Wink, wink. But because I feel like I have put Penny and Ryan through enough, and let's let those two kids have some fun, and I will torture someone else. So if there is a third book, it would be from someone else's point of view. I do have 4 libros under contract right now that I have to write first before I can even think about it. So, but you guys waited 5 years for this one. Not that it would be 5 years, but so we will see. Sorry.
De esta respuesta que acabas de darme se me ocurrieron 2 cosas, y la primera es que si nos podrías platicar un poco de las historias cortas que tienes sobre estos libros de Penny y Ryan, que tienes historias de Navidad, de Halloween, para que, pues, si no sabían que existían, ahora lo sepan. Y ahorita te pregunto la otra.
Yes. So last year, I wrote 3 short stories that are for free online. Unfortunately, I don't think they're in Spanish, but they're really short. But you can go on my website for links, or they're on Amazon, and they're everywhere. I have a Wattpad page where they're up. But I wrote 3 short stories. One is a Halloween, which I think was really funny. You get to see them all dress up for Halloween. Of course, Tracy was Katniss Everdeen. Of course she is. And Penny's like, maybe she's the one person in the club that shouldn't have a bow and arrow, And then so that one's called A Hard Day's Night. And then 2 of us is a first date of 2 characters. I don't want to give it away in case you haven't read that book, but you know who. And then the 3rd one is called From Me to You, and it's Christmas and New Year's with the Lonely Hearts Club and Penny and Ryan. I'll just say it. Yes, but thank you for mentioning that. Yeah.
Y la otra pregunta es que acabas de decir que tienes muchos proyectos por entregar, entonces, que si nos podrías platicar de alguno de tus futuros proyectos. A mí me estabas contando y uno... Sí.
Yes, so my next book that will come out, and I only know United States dates at this point, sorry, but I have a 3-book series that's coming out. The first book comes out next fall in September in the United States, and it's for readers a little bit younger. It's called The Great Shelby Holmes. It's a reimagining of Sherlock Holmes, but in my world, she's a 9-year-old crazy girl who is a detective with Watson, who's 11. So it takes place in New York, and I think it's the funniest thing I've written because she is like muy loco, like crazy. And so here's the thing: my next young adult book is coming out in early 2017 in the U.S., and I haven't been allowed to talk about it. My publisher likes to have certain things to happen. But I said to my editor, David Levithan, some of you may know him because he's an author. I said, David, I know I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I'm going to Mexico and I really, 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 really want to talk about it. And he said I could. Yay! So I'm allowed to say a little. So what I wanted to do this because my American readers know nothing. So you guys are the first people, and I've been doing interviews, and I haven't said anything either, because the first time I talked about this, I wanted to be here. So it's called, in the United States, it's going to be called Just Another Girl, and it's about a love triangle, but it's very different. It's about the two girls, and it starts off with this character, Hope, and about she has a crush on this guy who they've been best friends for a really long time. So kind of like McCallan and Levi. And, you know, she hates the girlfriend. And we've all read this book before, right? Like she, you know, so, you know, we've all read this book where, you know, a girl is pining after a guy and the girlfriend's horrible. But in my book, halfway through, it switches to the girlfriend's point of view. So you actually get to see her story, and maybe she's not as bad after all. So it's a lot about looking at people's perspectives, because you think you know someone, but you actually don't until you're in their shoes. So David has said it's my best book so far. So we'll see. He hasn't read the whole thing yet. I just gave it to him. So fingers crossed.
Una pregunta que también me pidieron mucho que te hiciera es si hay planes para película de alguno de tus libros.
Oh, movie? Oh, yeah. Oh, well, thank you. So here's the thing with movies. Authors have very little control. You have to have a movie studio want to make a movie and spend millions and millions of dollars. So Lonely Hearts Club was under option for a while, and then nothing happened, which is more common than not. That doesn't mean it won't. I do have a book that's under option right now with a pretty big studio, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. It's killing me. Like, no one, I told my parents, and I was like, but you can't tell anybody. My dad's like, who would I tell? I'm like, my parents are like, you know, yeah. So I'm sorry, but just keep your fingers crossed that maybe someday, because if it would happen, it would be pretty amazing. So.
Okay. Y veo que mucha gente aquí trae también el libro de Y si quedamos como amigos. Entonces, Better Off Friends. Entonces también pues, hay que hablar un ratito de McCallan y Levi. Y pues vamos a empezar también por cómo se te ocurrió escribir esa historia. ¿Algo te inspiró?
So again, my amazing editor, David Levithan, he and I are really good friends. And he said to me one day, I was working on another book, and he said, you know, have you ever thought about writing a book about a guy and a girl best friend? Kind of like there's an old movie that was popular in the United States called When Harry Met Sally that I highly recommend. But it's about a guy and a girl who meet right after college, and they take a road trip from Chicago to New York. And she says to him, I'm so excited. I now know someone who lives in New York. I have a friend now. He's like, we can't be friends. She's like, you know, ¿por qué? And he's like, because guys and girls can't be best friends because, you know, romance would always get in the way. So I thought about this book for over a year because I was writing another book. So I spent a year thinking about McCallan and Levi. Who are they? Why would they be friends? What would they have in common? And I really had a lot of fun writing the book, and I had it take place in Wisconsin, which is the state that I'm from in the U.S. And so I have a very soft spot in my heart for McCallan and Levi, so I'm very excited you guys do as well. And it was a really fun book to write. And when I was writing it, I just kind of made up things as I went along. So people have asked me if Buggy and Floyd exist, the TV show. It does not. That was the thing. I wanted them to have something really random in common. You know, like what? And I was thinking, like, I love BBC shows in Britain. And so I totally just made up that just because I'm nuts.
También me habías contado una historia graciosa de cómo llegó a ti el nombre de McCallan. Y quería ver si la podías compartir con todos porque está divertida.
Oh, okay. So, yes, because so some of you who are going to come to my signing line later, just know I sometimes come up with characters' names when I'm doing autographings. I was at a signing, and this girl came up to me, and her name was McAllen. And I said, "Oh, I really like your name. It's unusual." And her dad is a Scotch whiskey drinker, whiskey. And there's a brand called McAllen. So I was like, and I was with other authors, and they were like, "Oh, what name?" And I'm like, "Back off, it's mine." And so I just took the Post-it note, and a year later, I was writing Better Off Friends, and I was hoping to see her. So it's funny because it was a conference with like names like this. So I kept like looking up at people, and then all of a sudden I look up and I see the name McAllen. I'm like, "Are you the girl I saw last year?" And she's like, "Yes." And she looked at me. I go, "I'm writing your name in a book." And we were both like jumping up and down. And if I use your name, I do give you an advanced reading copy of the book. So she got a copy early of the book. So it was very sweet. So I'm very grateful for McAllen. So we'll see if I get other names today. Otros nombres.
También en este libro, y si quedamos como amigos, podemos ver mucho de la perspectiva del chico, de Levi. Y quería preguntarte también cómo fue para ti escribir esta perspectiva, porque ya te había dicho que mi hermanito, Pato, que tiene... Pato tiene 15 años, él leyó ese libro y quedó encantado, lo amó con toda su alma y me decía que él se sentía muy identificado con Levi y yo le decía, pero yo casi siempre quería golpear a Levi porque a veces hacía cosas que pues no. Y Pato dice que no, Clau, de verdad, yo también hubiera reaccionado así, siento que escribió muy bien la perspectiva de los chicos.
Yes, I was telling Claudia that I was talking about her brother Pato because I did an interview and a guy said to me, because when we talk about this book, he's like, "Well, men get hurt too, And I'm like, whatever. No, sorry, so sorry. I'm sorry. I just lo siento, chicos. And I said, well, I've actually written a book where it's from the guy's point of view, and I talk about that because girls get so mad at Levi, rightfully so. But then, guys kind of get mad at McAllen as well. And I think it has to do with, again, if people were just to be very honest about how they felt and told people things, the book would have been like 3 pages long probably. But I kind of just try to think about his perspective. And I also try to read books that male writers write to get the guy's perspective. I also, at the time I wrote this book, had a very loud upstairs neighbor, and he was like a dude, like a bro, and he was always like, "My buddy, this." I could hear him talk, and I'd be so annoyed, but then I was like, "Oh, you know what? I need to actually take notes so I can make sure I'm being accurate." So at least it like served one purpose. So thank you. Gracias, Pato. Yes, Pato.
También te quería preguntar de la aparición que hace McAllen en el segundo libro. McAllen sale de repente en el libro de We Can Work It Out y yo me sorprendí mucho de verla ahí. Sí, McAllen sale.
McAllen, yeah. Okay, so first of all, even though McAllen shows up in this book, it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with her and Levi. Everything's fine. I didn't realize that was going to be a problem. What happened was when I was writing this book, it's the 6th book I've written, but it had to do with my first book. So I did little inside nods to all of my books in there, but because this book takes place outside of Chicago, and Better Off Friends takes place outside of Milwaukee, they're actually not very far away from each other, probably like an hour and a half. So when the club was expanding and I was like, oh, I could actually have other characters meet, and I was just really excited. So it was when David was reading it, because that's the first little wink to one of my books that comes up. He was like, "Oh, I see this." And then there are other little ones. And if you want to know the other ones, I have a blog post on my website where all of the they're called Easter eggs, are found. But the page numbers are the English versions of the book. But yes, I was very excited to see McAllen again. But she's just there to support Danielle. Everything is fine. You can have a boyfriend and be in the Lonely Hearts Club, so we're good.
Y otra pregunta que también me dijeron mucho que te hiciera fue si va a haber segunda parte de Y si quedamos como amigos.
Oh, okay. I'm like, no. But here's the thing. If you've read this book, you realize what happens when I'm forced to write a sequel. People suffer.
Drama.
Okay? Drama. Muchas drama. Yes, see? I feel that McCallan and Levi have been through enough. I just like to think that they're off living happily ever after without me interfering with them. So I really like how I ended that book, and so I don't have any plans. Lo siento.
Estoy viendo que ya solo nos quedan 20 minutos, entonces no sé si quieran mejor empezar a preguntar, preguntas del público, si le quieren hacer a Elizabeth de una vez. No sé si hay un micrófono que puedan pasar al público, porque sí hay muchas preguntas. ¿Sí?
Oh, there we go.
Ok, pues sí, usted, a la que levante la mano. Sí.
Hello. Yeah. I'm so nervous. I'm sorry if my English is bad, but I'm so nervous.
Oh, you've heard my Spanish, so you have nothing to apologize for.
Okay. Which things are the most important for you when you create a story or a character? And thank you.
Oh, thank you. I focus on characters first, because I feel that if you have a character that's really well-rounded, then you can, I always say, if you really know a character well and you know what they want, then you can figure out all the ways to make it difficult for them to get to that part. So I spend, with McCallan and Levi, I spent a year just thinking about them and who they are and their personalities and a couple plot points, but mostly I focus on characters first. Thank you.
Hola.
Hola.
La verdad mi inglés es pésimo. Pero la verdad yo leí el libro de Y si quedamos como amigos. La verdad fue un libro que me tuvo encantada. Todos vivimos una situación así que te enamoras de tu mejor amigo o viceversa. La verdad fue una experiencia increíble y la verdad al final me dejó como en suspenso porque no termina como, pero perdón para los que ya lo leí, bueno, no nos han leído, pero termina como en suspenso porque no sabes si sí quedaron bien o no quedaron bien. Pero es el mejor libro que he leído, es increíble y te amo que estés aquí.
Oh my God, te amo. Thank you. Thank you. So that means a lot. I'm very proud of Better Off Friends, and it means a lot to me that it's done so well here. It really does. So thank you. And I feel like I already gave away the ending, so it's okay.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Hey.
Hello.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for being here today. Are you okay?
No, it's okay. I just hit myself in the face.
Okay.
It's fine.
This book is really important to me because actually my best friend dedicated to me. My best friend is a guy.
Oh,
And yes, you're actually, he's my Levi. So, and well, first question, the sign is going to be here or at the...
the signing's going to be in the Penguin Random House booth.
Okay, now,
Yes.
Second, my dream is to become a writer. So what advice could you give to me if I am blocked?
Okay, yeah. I love, writing, everybody is different. I write different than other, everybody finds their own thing. If you want to be a writer, the most important thing is just to sit down and write. And I know that sounds like kind of weird, but I have a lot of people who always say to me like, oh, I have such a great idea for a book. And I'm like, great, write it. But I plan out a lot. I'm the kind of person, I can't sit down and not know what I'm going to write. So I have a notebook for every book that I write and just like keep notes. for Better Off Friends, when I started, everybody's getting in line. I will sign every book, so don't worry about it. I have medicine to help my hand cramps. Seriously, I do in my bag. Yeah, and so for Better Off Friends, when I sat down to figure out what was going to happen, I had these little index cards and I wrote down just certain scenes. And then I laid them all out and I just plotted them. And then I would see where there were holes. Okay, well, if I need this to happen and then this, what goes here? So that's just what I do. And I also write a very fast first draft. So I just write really fast and I don't go back and change anything. I feel like I just need to get the story down because you will have many opportunities to go back and edit. So I hope that helps. But whatever you do, do not give up. Just keep going.
Hola.
Hola. Yes.
Mi pregunta es que si ¿tú qué le recomiendas a los hombres que están en una friend zone?
What do you recommend the guys?
Okay.
The friends?
Okay. So first of all, you're here, so that's awesome. Okay. Because I always think like, especially, so I will say this. I've been making fun of guys, and I'm sorry. I'm used to doing it in the United States because no guys come to my events. I wonder why. But, you know, been there with the friend zone, you know. Here's the thing. Girls sometimes, all right, I've made fun of boys for being stupid. Girls sometimes are crazy, all right? I will say it. We're nuts. And so many times have my friends, you know, had this awesome guy right in front of them, but they have to go to the guy who like treats them badly. So, you know, if you are friends with a girl and, you know, you're treating her well, she will eventually open up her eyes and see that you're awesome. But the fact that you're like here reading books, I always, my mom is a school teacher and she walked into a classroom once with a bunch of boys reading Lonely Hearts Club. And she was like, what's going on? And the boys are like, we're learning what girls want. I'm like, oh, so smart. So good luck. But also, ladies, take note, smart guy here, all right? Form a line. I love him. That was awesome.
Hola, una cosa, me encantó el libro de Si quedamos como amigos y mi pregunta es que, ¿qué le recomiendas a personas que quisieran crear libros como los que tú haces?
Oh, well, thank you so much. You know, I think, so here's the thing. When I write books that I would want to read. And when I first started writing books, the books that were really popular were, you know, paranormal romance, vampires, werewolves, end of world. But I tried to find a book that I wish existed that didn't. So I think you need to know what story you would like to read, because when you write a book, you have to read it many times and rewrite it many times and work on it for at least a year. So look at what story you want. And if you ever get stuck, just talk to a friend. I do that a lot. If I'm confused of where a story should go, I'll pick up the phone and just go with a friend and just start talking. And also, a really good question to ask yourself when you're writing is what if? You know, you look at a scenario. Okay, so Penny's happy. What if I make her miserable? What if the club gets bigger? You know, you just kind of have to keep asking questions. And I will say, when I first started writing, I didn't like torturing my characters. In Lonely Hearts Club, David made me rewrite the beginning of the story like 4 times, and every time it was more painful for Penny. So that's his fault. But now I realize how fun it is to torture your characters. So good luck. Buena suerte con escribir, right? Okay, sorry. I should just stop.
Hi. First of all, thank you for being here. It was wonderful. I laughed a lot, and you're even better than I thought you will be.
Oh, thank you.
And I love you even more now. And I think I will read your books again because I really like it. And right here is my best friend, and it was her birthday, so you already
told her happy birthday last year, so she wants to tell you thank you for that.
Oh,
it was
wait,
awesome.
what's your name?
Camila.
Camila, should we sing Feliz Cumpleaños a Camila? ¿Sí?
Oui.
¿Sí? Feliz Cumpleaños a ti. Feliz Cumpleaños a ti. Feliz Cumpleaños a Mila. Feliz Cumpleaños a ti. Yay! Happy birthday!
Thank you so much. And the question is, it was hard to write like in a boy's point of view, because I already tried to write with like a boy. It was really hard. I couldn't. So
yeah, the first book that I've written from a boy's perspective, and someone has it, Del Material que están hechos los sueños. Someone had it? Yes, yes. Yes, right there. That those, oh yeah, take a bow. Sorry. That was the first book that I wrote from a boy's perspective. And one of the guys in the book's name's Ethan, and he's very he's way smarter than I am. But like he's very lyrical. So what I did is I looked at song lyrics written by male songwriters and just like took some notes and just had like a list of some lines that male songwriters wrote. And so when I was writing Ethan's perspective, I had like a little list of words to use. And yeah, and also just eavesdrop. So sometimes I'll be at Starbucks with my earphones in, but not turned on. And if they're like teenagers behind me, I'm like, you know, to hear from them. But I do want to say before I forget, I am so excited to be here, but the reason why I'm here is because of my publisher, Alfaguara, Penguin Random House, who brought me here when I was like, can I come? And they're like, we'd love to have you. So where's, oh, she's on the phone, but just wave and say thank you. Ceci's the reason. She's the reason I am here. Oh, and also I want to thank Maricel, who's behind the counter. She's been, she helped me with my Spanish earlier. And yes, and she's been doing the translating for me and has been great because I've been doing interviews and they've said, oh, can you speak? I've been like, oh, I can speak Spanish. And I'm like, hold on. So I've been like asking her what I was supposed to say. So thank you to everybody for having me. And thank you for wanting me to come here. All right, where are we? Oh, bueno. Hola.
Muchas gracias por venir. Yo soy, bueno, escribo, pero empecé escribiendo fanfics. ¿Qué opinas tú sobre los fanfics de tus historias? Y para los que comienzan haciendo, bueno, escribir novelas, pero a base de otras historias, así como el fanfic.
Oh, so I haven't read any. I know that it exists fan fiction on my books. The first time I saw fan fiction on one of my books, it was a book I wrote called Prom and Prejudice. And what they did is they actually just used my book, but instead of Darcy, they used Harry Styles. So it was hilarious. I'm like, so basically you just switched out Will Darcy for Harry Styles, but okay. I mean, you know, go girl. So I think that's great. I mean, I think with fan fiction writers, like you clearly have a story you want to write, and it's easier to do it with characters who exist. So the book I just talked about, Prom and Prejudice, is a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. But I could do a retelling because it's in the public domain. You know, Jane Austen wasn't going to sue me. So I think that you clearly have stories and you're a writer. So I think it's great because you're already writing. So you just need to find your own characters. And I feel like you're almost there. Because you already am writing. I think the biggest hurdle is sitting down and actually like writing. So I think fan fiction is great. And whatever gets people to write and whatever gets people to read. So keep going.
Bueno, hola.
Hola.
Bueno, estoy muy nerviosa. Quería decirte que en serio amé tu libro, me gustó demasiado. Y quería pedirte dos cosas. Si me podrías contestar de qué es lo que más te gusta sobre el Club de los Corazones Solitarios y si le podrías mandar un saludo a mi amiga Naomi porque sin ella no hubiera conocido tu libro.
Oh, okay. Hola, Naomi. Hola. Gracias. Oh, here we go. I told you. I try. Gracias for introducing your amigo to my Libros. I know. Sorry. Thank you. What I love about the Lonely Hearts Club is it was a book I spent a lot of time on, but it changed my life. And I know that sounds like, oh, really corny, but writing that book and having it come out, things have happened that I never thought would happen. For example, I can't do it. For example, being here. But also because I've had a lot of girls email me and say that that book has helped them get through a relationship. And I've had a broken heart and it's not fun at all. And so anything that I have done to help with that is just amazing. So I'm very grateful to Penny and her club for everything they have done for me. Thank you. Adios, Naomi.
Hola, soy Mariana.
Oh, hi. Hello again.
Me encantan tus libros y yo te quería preguntar sobre M, si el sueño de M es tu sueño o si haces lo que hace M, tocar piano, guitarra o componer.
Oh, Emmy. Oh, okay. From yes, take it back. Yeah, okay. So my character of Emmy in Del Material que echan los sueños. Yes, yeah. And she is a songwriter, and she goes to this performing arts high school. I love music, and that book was inspired by the fact that I really wish growing up I could have gone to a performing arts high school because I love to play piano, and I now play the guitar and clarinet because I'm super cool. And I can play drums. And I wish I was as talented as Emmy. And so it was kind of, I was living vicariously through her. I really, if I couldn't be an author, I'd be a rock star. Yes, but that book is out in Spanish, so I do, if you have already read my other 3 ones, I recommend Take a Bow, because it's one of my favorites. So thank you for mentioning it.
Bueno, quería decirte que tus libros son mis favoritos, eres mi autora favorita. Me has hecho sentir tantas emociones a través de las letras, con la emoción con la que escribes, las risas, las lágrimas, todos los sentimientos que provocas a través de tu escritura. No sé, me encanta, eres mi escritora favorita y quería agradecerte por todos los momentos que has compartido con nosotros y todo lo que nos has hecho sentir, y estoy muy feliz de estar aquí y poder conocerte.
Okay. So it was funny, I was saying earlier, I was like, I think I'm gonna cry, and I almost did. That means the world to me. I mean, I spend so much of my time alone in front of a computer, making up things that come out of this crazy head of mine, and to know that like there's a single person out there who thinks that I'm their favorite writer is amazing, and to have heard that a few times today, and to have all you guys here is just, it's crazy. I mean, I'm not kidding, this is the best event I've ever been to. So, you know, I do, te amo, Mexico. And so thank you so much for saying that, I really appreciate it.
Me están diciendo que nos quedan 5 minutos, así que yo creo que unas 2 o 3 preguntas más.
Hola. Pues más que nada yo quería agradecerte por escribir Si quedamos como amigos. Es una historia que a mí me llegó mucho y quería ver si antes de todo puedo darte un abrazo.
Oh my, okay, come on up. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. Oh, thank you. Oh, no. So you should know, during my signings, I give hugs. So yes, so during my signing, muchas, how do you say hug? It's abrazar. Muchos, yes, during my signing.
Y quería preguntarte también si a ti alguna vez te pasó como a Michael de Eulberg, de enamorarte de un amigo o algo así.
Oh, I wish. No, I have a really I have a really good friend from high school named Eric, and so I always joke to make him uncomfortable. Levi was based on you, and he's like, oh, no, we're just friends. No, I haven't, but I will say, out of every character I've written, there's a character in Better Off Friends, the Uncle Adam, Tio Adam, who is based on he's based on my uncle that I have, my Uncle Peter. And my dad actually cried when he read the book that I based a character on my uncle. So that's about it. I wish. I really need a Levi. I mean, I really want a Ryan, but I'd settle for a Levi.
Una pregunta más.
Bueno, mi pregunta es, en ese libro está Sophie, y es una maldita, obviamente. Yo odié a Sophie.
Yes.
¿Te inspiraste en alguien en particular para crear a Sophie, que alguna vez, en algún momento te hayan hecho algo así, te hayan tratado así, y quisiste dejarla plasmada aquí, en este libro?
Yes. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't realize when I was writing the book that I was working out some issues that I had about someone who was very not great to me, until after. There's a point where it gets in the book where when you're working on a book where you just read through to make sure everything's okay. And when I was reading it, I was like, oh, wow. And I said that to my sister after she read it. She's like, yeah, I totally saw that. How did you not? But I mean, so basically this character of Sophie pretends that she's friends with Emmy, but she uses her. And unfortunately, I have had that happen. More than once. I don't know what it is about me. But yeah, so it was, but it was, I have to say, Sophie is my first character that I have done. Oh, that was for you, sorry. Is my first character who I wrote from that isn't very nice, and it was kind of fun. Like when I was writing from her point of view, I was like, attack the keyboard more. And if anybody called me when I was writing from her, I was like, what do you want? I'm very important. You know, it's like, no. But, ooh. There we go. Yeah, so, I'm just going to hold on to it. Yeah, but thank you. I'm glad. And I will say for anybody who's read that book, I originally wrote a 10 years later epilogue, which isn't in the book, but it's on my website. So if you want to read, and if you don't like Sophie, you really enjoy the 10 years later. So you find out what happened to her.
Okay.
I think yes.
Sí, ya se acabó el tiempo. Y pues los vamos a ver, Elizabeth los va a ver en la firma de libros en el stand de Penguin Random House.
Muchas gracias.